If you want the Titans to win more games this year, then you gotta subscribe. Week 1 is just around the corner, so it is time to sub if you want some Titans dubs. Bleacher Report once again on their ish as they are advocating Tennessee should trade away DeAndre Hopkins, this time to the Cleveland Browns. And the pitch they made does make sense for Cleveland. They freed up a bunch of cap space by restructuring Deshaun Watson's contract, which is part of their whole leverage thing they're doing, which I actually don't think it means a big move's coming, just how they operate. There's the chemistry between Watson and Hopkins in theory. They could use another wide receiver despite throwing big assets there previously. I get it. It's an all move for the Browns. Here's the thing, Bleacher Report. Does it make sense for Tennessee? Because as you should know, it takes two sides to make a trade. I don't actually think it makes any real sense for Tennessee. Look at what Hopkins did last year for Tennessee amid a bad passing offense. Let's call it what it was. It was not very good. Still put up 1,000 yards, actually played at all 17 games. TBD if he plays all 17 this year, coming back from that injury. I think it probably 50-50 prop right now. Maybe a bit higher than 50-50 for week 1. They'll be cautious because it's week 1, not week 17. Has been a really good receiver over the course of his NFL career. Most importantly, don't you kind of need him? You got Calvin Ridley, who I am very excited for. Tyler Boyd can handle slot receiver, but he's a slot. He's not an outside guy. Do you want to put Treylon Burks in there at wide receiver 2? Didn't we try that already? Is that actually a good idea? Here's the thing for the Titans. The whole purpose of this season is Will Levis's development. Nothing is actually more important than ideally figuring out that Will Levis is the guy. But plan B is knowing he's not the guy. That's not a very good plan B. It's also better than Daniel Jones and Giants fans still saying, well, maybe bad supporting cast. No. You want to give your quarterback every possible option. Offensive line, ground game, playmaking. You want to prop him up in a really good situation to help him grow, develop, become a franchise QB. Or at minimum, no, that's just not going to happen. You don't want to do 3 years of Daniel Jones, Sam Darnold. Well, maybe he's good. Never been in a good situation. Trading away DeAndre Hopkins makes this situation worse. It's not a good idea for Tennessee. Now, I guess you could revisit this if it's a disaster class around the trade deadline. But right now, would you trade away Hopkins? Y for yes, N for no. Go ahead and sound off for me with the pinned comment of today's video. A to Z Sports, our friends over there, suggesting the Titans should sign CJ Beathard. He was waived with an injury settlement after a groin injury by Jacksonville. So assuming he's healthy, I do think this makes some sense. And there were some good reasons actually laid out by A to Z Sports, including the built-in chemistry with Calvin Ridley, that he's from Nashville. Two things that I don't think actually matter that much because he's not supposed to be playing in a real game. He did play under Titans OC Nichols back when he was on the Jags offensive staff. And, oh, by the way, Tennessee has 2 quarterbacks. They're profoundly thin at the position. So my short answer is I am open to doing this. I think this could make some sense for Tennessee with one big but involved. It has to only be for the practice squad. I have no desire to add a third quarterback right now to the active roster. I'd rather go in a different direction. I think that's what Brian Callahan prefers. He did that with the Bengals under Zach Taylor with two QBs for most of the season. I am open to putting him on the practice squad, which frankly is probably where he belongs anyway. He's not that good of a player. He's fine. He can be a stopgap option for you. You might be able to not lose some games, but if CJ Beathard is playing actual snaps for any NFL franchise this year, look, it means something has gone horribly, horribly wrong. There are 2 open roster spots on the Titans practice squad at this time. We will come back to that and the full breakdown here in just a second. But first, today's show is made possible by Factor Meals. It is football season. It's college football season. Ain't no one got time for that. Factor's fresh, as in cooking actual homemade meals. Factor's fresh, never frozen meals are dietitian approved and ready to eat in just 2 minutes. So no matter how busy you might be, you'll always have time to enjoy nutritious, great-tasting meals. You can treat yourself to restaurant-quality meals that feature premium ingredients like filet mignon, shrimp, and blackened salmon. Factor meals are ready in 2 minutes. means it keeps your kitchen time to a minimum. There's no shopping, there's no prepping, there's no cooking, and there's no cleaning up. Head to factormeals.com/TitansChat50 and use code TitansChat50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month. That's code TitansChat50 at factormeals.com/TitansChat50 to get that 50% off your first box plus $20 off your next month while your subscription is active. All right, the practice squad then for Tennessee, where it's at so far. Jabari Small, the running back. Mason Kinsey, Bryce Oliver at wide receiver. Nick Van Ness at tight end. He's been up and down from the active roster. 3 offensive linemen, Corey Levin, Cole Spencer. Leroy Watson, the 4th, a backup offensive tackle option. So you got 7 on that front and 7 on defense. 2 spots left. Abdullah Anderson and James Lynch and Isaiah Aiton. That makes sense. They went thin at defensive tackle on the active roster. You go deeper on the practice squad as a result. Clint Duke there as an edge rusher. 3 corners. No safeties because you're so deep there. That also makes sense. Trey Avery, Anthony Kendall, and Gabe Judy Lally. There is room for Caleb Farley, who, as of filming, still has not found a new destination. I'm not really sure what's up there. Several teams have open practice squad spots. I'm a little surprised he hasn't latched on anywhere. Maybe there's a reason for that. Whatever. There's room to add another player, 2 players actually, to this team. So name a player who you would like to add to the Titans practice squad. Who you got in mind? What player are you looking to add to the practice squad? Drop it for me in the comments section. Let's go to cornerback room here. L'Jarius Sneed, listed as the Titans X Factor by ESPN for the season. I was a little surprised at this selection. I do get some of the arguments, though, from ESPN's Ben Solak, who we'll get to here in a minute. Sneed's a really good football player. He has to be really good. And I kind of get where Ben's going. Here's what he wrote. His kind of summation piece. It sounds like Titans DC Denard Wilson will use Sneed as he was deployed in his final year with the Chiefs, primarily as an outside press man corner. With top 10 money at the position, he must be the dominant game-altering force he was for the Super Bowl champions. It's hard to predict exactly what the Titans' floor and ceiling are as a team. They've added so many new players, all new coaches, and Will Levis still question mark at quarterback, but Sneed is one of the key dominoes that must fall for a successful season. Okay, I get it. You maybe could have gone with Will Levis there in that case. That might be too much of the low-hanging fruit as well. I get the logic, the argument. Your defense has been overhauled. It's a new DC. You've got all these moving parts and everything, and you paid a bunch of money and give up assets in the draft for Sneed. So you need him to be as good as he was in Kansas City. Adding Sneed and him being a low starting, top 20 corner probably isn't what they're going for necessarily. They're probably hoping that they get more out of Sneed. The same guy that he was at his absolute best in Kansas City, right? The guy that made a bunch of interceptions, made a bunch of plays, was impactful, did all the different things that I think that this team has been searching for at the cornerback spot, what they were hoping they were going to get out of Caleb Farley, what they were hoping they were going to get out of Christian Fulton, who I think had for a year, and then it all kind of fell apart there. He's your number 1 corner. Chidobe Awuzie's your 2. Roger Mercury came on the nickel. You went thin at corner. You eventually claimed Darrell Baker off of waivers. You do need Sneed to be that guy this upcoming season.